Okay, I've got a whole bunch of new things to show off here, so let's just get going. Going down my list, we have an updated HUD, as you can see. This is all placeholder stuff. I know it's super ugly, except for the stuff that Matt did. And my icons are actually alright, but all this kind of, the text and the labels and things like that, I know it looks bad, but it's just for me to feel out what information should be visible and how it should be arranged and stuff like that. And I'm really happy that it's there. And there's more, which I'll get to in a minute. Anyways, yeah, so we can always see the player number, the current ship that's selected, which might seem like it's unnecessary, but if you are in a smoke screen and you don't know which ship you're even controlling, that's a problem. So this alleviates that issue. It also shows what your ship is weak to, and I think that that should just always be visible to both players. That's not ever meant to be a secret. And we have our 3 different weapon icons. So, oh yeah, and then a help key, which I'll get to after. So if I press 2 or 3, it highlights the weapon that you're selecting. That's maybe not that interesting, but without this, you have no idea what weapon you're going to shoot unless you just press the key again to make sure. Yeah, oh, and then also you might have noticed there's like a little message box up here. I did this a while ago, actually, way before I had this dashboard kind of thing. And that just like, it gives various information that's useful for me to kind of track what's happened in a game, because sometimes I think a bug has happened and I'm not 100% sure, so I can, if I get a bunch of those, I can pause it and it'll hold the text there. And I kind of decided that some of that information might actually be useful for players as well. These don't necessarily need to be, never mind. Yeah, so if we press the H key, then we get a screen here. Again, I know it's ugly, it's placeholder. A screen here that tells you everything about your currently selected weapon, everything that I decided is important anyways. There might be more in the future. And then a text description. Most of them are brief, some are not. And we also have a controls display, which I thought was really important. Again, it's something that you can turn on and off. None of this information is stuff that you would need if you already know all of the ins and outs of the game. And then if you press tab, it even gives you these little pop-up things to tell you how to switch your different ships, because, yeah, that's not necessarily obvious. Oh yeah, the other weird thing that you might have noticed is that the aspect ratio is square. Why is that? Well, I realized quite a while ago, actually, that there was a weird advantage to, if you're trying to escape from another player, flying up or down, because they'd have to, sorry, there's an advantage to flying up or down, because the other player would have to move up or down in order to move the screen to see you. Whereas if you go side to side, you have to go further in order to be out of their view. And I was aware of that problem a long time ago, didn't really think of it as being necessarily a big deal, but it kind of obviously is. So yeah, now we're locked into a square aspect ratio, and no matter what device this ends up being on, that's how it's going to be viewed, as weird as that might be. I thought, and Matt and I thought that it would be nice if we could utilize the vertical space here for the HUD, and that would be nice, but I just don't think that it will work, and I won't get into why, but it just, I'm not going to do it. Maybe we can get some like neat art for the background or something, so it's not just black. Or maybe black is good. I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, moving on from there. Right. No, I'll save that for last. So for a long time I was using the fighter sprite as my placeholder for new ships. And that got confusing, as you might imagine. Even when I was playing games against myself, I would still frequently forget what's what, even though the weapon icons give it away, if you know what these things are. But now I have more distinct placeholders. So the mothership looks like a flying saucer. That's not necessarily how it's going to look in the end. That's just what seemed appropriate to me. And the Orb Weaver, or the mine ship, now vaguely resembles an Orb Weaver spider. And the Scorpion, which I haven't actually made a video about yet, that'll be next, looks like that. It looks really bad. It's kind of embarrassing, but placeholder, it's fine. What else? Oh yeah, the mothership's health. 690, that's a weird number to choose. I didn't choose it. It's actually based on the number of ships you have in your fleet. Because the game mode is built around the idea that you can win by either wiping out your opponent's fleet or by killing their mothership, it seems obvious that the mothership's health needs to scale somehow. So I forget exactly how it is. I'm too tired to think about the math on that. It might be like some amount then plus some other amount times number of ships. I just don't remember. Anyways, this team has 690 and this team has 660, and they both have the same number of ships. So yeah, I'm not really sure how that shakes out. It might be that the different ships have values on them or something. I don't know. Doesn't matter. What else? Oh yeah, the Orb Weaver. I was playing with it today and a lot previously, of course, and I found that the magnet mine, which was its primary fire, was just kind of like just better in general than the mine field with the mini mines. It's circumstantial as well, but I decided to swap them. So now your primary fire is doing that, which I think is nice because this is most useful when you can do it a lot. And your secondary fire is the magnet mines. Speaking of which, the magnet mines are a little bit different in that after they've like armed themselves, which happens, there you go, now we have a visible ring. Now Matt and I both agreed that they should not have a visible ring, but I did this in a particular way, and I can very easily demonstrate that. You might already see where I'm going with this. I'll take another team ship down here, bump it into stuff. Let's see. Cruising. Oh, there it is. No ring. So, you can only see the ring on your own mines. I was finding that it was far too easy to trigger your own mines and get hit by them, which sort of defeats the purpose. And I do like the idea of your own weapons and tools being turned against you in some manner, like that's what Cataclysm was built around. But this was to the point where it was not feeling particularly useful as a tool, because it was so easily used against you. So other ships can't see their ring, but you can, so that you're not going to wander into them necessarily. They will still go after you if you go into that space, though. And now this guy's in trouble. There we go. What else? Was that all? No. Oh yeah, that's right. So the thing that I added today, I'm super happy to finally have this, at least in like a rudimentary kind of form. But the obstacles that you see, these asteroid things, again, placeholder art, these are randomly dropped into the map. Before today, I had kind of a prearranged pattern of these things and some rectangle obstacles of various sizes that I repeated on the map so that players still wouldn't know which section of the map they're in at the start because they all look the same. But now this was kind of always the intent, is to have it randomly generated so that you don't know where you are for a different reason. And yeah, it finally is in the game and it works. So it'll drop a bunch of things. Currently, my system only works with round obstacles, but that's just because I wanted to get it working in a basic sense, and it'll be easy for me to update that and make it work with all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I've got big asteroids and little asteroids, and in fact I'll demonstrate that just for fun here. So it's an empty map, and when I click play, I think I have it set to 150, which is a lot, I know. It's way more crowded than what I ever imagined I'd want it to be. But there you go. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that's good. That's not an asteroid. I thought it was. If it were, then that would be a problem because it's intersecting with this. So I didn't want them to obviously spawn on top of each other, but also the force field areas of the mothership and any other ship, I don't want them in that space either. So yeah, it actually works, and I'm really happy about that. If you can see down here, I may be doing this in a horribly inefficient way, but it seems fast enough when I hit play. Like, it doesn't seem any slower than before I added this in. So it'll attempt to spawn however many I tell it to, and it'll give up after, I think right now it's like 100 attempts, which is probably really not that many for a computer, but it's okay. I don't mind. So okay, so it's trying to spawn 100, I think. Yeah, because it says it's given up on 14 because it wasn't able to find a spot for them after 100 attempts, and it successfully spawned 86. Yeah, I had like, I think one game. Yeah, I only had one game since I added this stuff, and I found that it was actually a lot more interesting with lots of stuff than what I thought. Because like previously the game was kind of empty, being in space and all, but when you have more obstacles, it sort of makes, I don't know, you have to like take more detours around stuff, like obviously, but like the mine ship is more useful. Like you can do things right off the bat, like, you know, maybe you want to take your drone and find a good spot. Okay, right now if I teleport the mothership in here, it'll actually like clip into the asteroids, and I'm not sure what kind of collision problem that'll cause. So I'm not going to do that right now because I haven't accounted for it, but I'll go right here, and if I put the mothership there, then I can go to my Orb Weaver, and now I've kind of got like a fortress. Here, I'm going to cheat and give myself more AP. Oops, I'm still used to the magnet mines being fire 1. This is what I meant to do. So I can kind of like, you know, put these things to better use, where someone actually has to pass through something narrow in order to get to me, which I just think is kind of cool. Anyways, the last thing is that in between turns, a random pickup will spawn. I'm planning on making that more robust. It's not going to just drop a random pickup with equal probability necessarily, or maybe that'll be a player setting. But yeah, that's just, they're in a basic form right now. Also, like the number of obstacles and maybe even the type of obstacles will be something that I want players to be able to decide in the game settings. Anyways, that is a lot of stuff, so I'm going to stop there, and the next video I will be talking about the Scorpion, which is a super cool ship, even though it looks really dumb. Anyways, that's all.